I was always well taken care of. I had everything that I wanted. I'd point out a toy in the store and somehow, some way, my mom found a way to get it for me. And I grew up in like middle class. Mother was a Phoenix police officer. In junior high, my father came back around in our lives. He does really well for himself. I definitely had a structured environment. That wasn't the issue. But inside, I felt like I had a million nerves just wanting to crawl and jump out of my skin. I was constantly told, like, you have nothing to be sad about or to feel angry about. I just wasn't able to put any kind of a name or attach any kind of a name to those feelings. So I drank, and then I started smoking a lot of pot. School came easy for me. I wanted to just be able to live and function like my older sister and like the people around me. And I always just felt disconnected. I just didn't know who I was. Get my own apartment, get a car, and work a job, and those things were simple to me. I started to accumulate a lot of materialistic things because I wanted to prove to everyone that there was nothing wrong with me, even though on the inside I was crumbling. I started with a lot of harder drugs, cocaine, and abusing prescription pills. Everything looked good on the outside, and then it started to fall apart. And so then my shelter and my security as far as being able to pay the bills in my home, and that was taken away quickly. Not because I didn't have the job, but because I wasn't willing to pay the bills on my own. But then I started wrecking vehicles and crashed 3 in a total of 1 year. So I'd wake up in the morning, I would snort a line of Oxycontin, and I would snort a half a bar of Xanax, and I'd put on my makeup and I'd go to work. I'd be starting IVs on people and nodding off. I would try to go like a day or 2 without, and I remember thinking like, I'm just gonna die on these drugs. I put down the prescription pills and I started using heroin. Not long after the heroin, I started using methamphetamines. I got pregnant with my first child. I used heroin throughout that entire pregnancy. But I didn't want to go through the withdrawal, so I didn't quit. I quit like 3 or 4 days before I had that baby. I didn't have him early, and he was healthy and he was eating right away. And so to me, it was just an excuse to continue using. I thought in my head, like, if there was any real problem, I would have been exposed right then. So then I had a second child, and he was born addicted to heroin and meth. He had benzos in his system as well. And he was sick. He stayed in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and he had to go through the withdrawal, and they had to taper him down, and I just used the guilt and the shame from that situation to continue to use. So DCS came in, and they removed both of my children from my home, and from there, I just partied every night. I didn't have the responsibility of making sure we had formula or changing a diaper or putting on SpongeBob, because that's probably the most that I ever did anyways. The difference was that I would get high and then I would cry because it's like I couldn't get high enough. Family's angry with me, and how could you let this happen? And DCS is calling, go to these classes, take these drug tests. And I told him no, because I was gonna figure it out. And it took about 2 weeks of having that thought in my head that, like, this man that sees me once a month says I have a serious problem and I need to go to treatment. I really didn't want to. I wanted to go back, and I wanted to be around my old friends because, like, I'd gotten the drugs out of my system. But instead, I went into sober living the first time that my mom came to see me in treatment, and she's like, I'm so proud of you. And it's like, you should be ashamed of me. I'm your one child that, like, just made a complete mess of their life. I didn't go to treatment for my mother, but hearing that when I was in treatment, it made a world of difference. Today, I do have my 2 children back in my life. I was able to successfully complete my DCS case. And, the simple things like waking up in the morning and getting my kids ready for school and feeding them breakfast and dropping them off at daycare and then going into work, and I work in recovery. I have 3 years now, so January 16th, 2014. My sobriety date. I have this amazing relationship with my parents. Today I can call them and we talk and we laugh, and I have to stay in the moment today, and that's a blessing to be able to do that. I don't feel disconnected anymore. Just that positive motivation and influence in my life, and it makes a world of difference.